Just getting the rest of this bed ready for the carrots today. It's one of those rare miracle occasions where the sun is shining as well. There's not really much left on these sprouts. Just these tiny little buttons on this one. Anyway, let us check for clubroot, eh? You can twist the plant to get the root out. See that, guys? Beautiful. Not a bit of clubroot showing there. Ladybird, little ladybird. This is blowing and going to seed. I would have liked to have saved one of them and let it go to seed, but it's right in the middle of the bed. If it had been in the corner, I would have let it go to seed, you know. I think we've picked just about everything we can pick off that one. There's a seed head there. All the little seeds just starting to show. I'll make nice compost anyway. Now I have found a little bit of clubroot on that one. Look at that, there you go. But we had a load of sprouts off this plant, so even though it got clubroot, it didn't affect its yield. So that's it there. You see all these little clusters, these clumps? That is classic clubroot. So that's one so far. You can actually eat the top of the sprout, like the crown, as it comes up. Obviously not this, because it's bolted now and it's going to seed, but the tops of the sprouts are beautiful. Any clubroot on this one? Let's have a look. Zero clubroot, guys. Few little baby sprouts in this, but nothing worth saving. Any clubroot on this one? What's the other method? Twist the plant, but they've got so much root, the stems are just breaking off. Nope. Zero clubroot there. This has got the dreaded stones in as well, because I put some of that horse manure on this area. You can see it's a bit lumpy. This is why I'm going to sieve this. Just get all these big lumps out of it, because I'm putting carrots in. But yeah, there's loads of stones in this. Mr. B, no clubroot. Yeah, and they've got clubroot on that one as well, you see. A little worm in there. Come out, little worm. But I have to say that sprout gave us absolutely loads. You can see where they've all come off here. That was one of the best plants, that one. And there's still a couple of little ones on there. So I don't know what that shows us really, that a brassica can get clubroot, but it can still produce a crop. So I don't know, guys. I have no idea. Is clubroot a problem? Well, I've got clubroot and it's not really been a problem. There's maybe other factors involved here. Right, let's get this bed prepped, eh? Right, the first job would be to just rake all this big lumpy stuff off the surface here, This is the remnants of that horse manure I was talking about. It just hasn't quite decomposed. That was maybe a bean. I don't know. A lot of sycamores coming up in this as well. Sycamores had a good year last year, producing those little keys that were spinning around everywhere. I just want that dry stuff off the surface, that's all. I don't want to go any deeper than that. That's all it is, guys. I just wanted that stuff out. Stones again. Stones. Let's pick all these stones out because I'm going to put this in the hot compost bin. These little bits of muck and dried muck that are on the surface. It's a bit of a common theme this year. Beds full of damn stones. Right, let's have a little bit of a rake of this now. Again, I'm going to just put my string line in and just straighten up the edges of these beds. Right, that's one side straightened out. We'll just get this other side done then, and I can get ready to get the rest of the prepping done on this. So my next task is to just give this a little bit of a sieve again, just on the surface. And as I've maybe already said, I don't do this on, you know, all the beds. This is purely for the beds that the carrots are going in. And the other reason is just because this soil is particularly lumpy with the compost that was put on the back end of last year. So normally it's not something I'd normally do, but you know, it's just a few things that have come together to cause me to do this, and it's only, as I say, for the carrots, just the carrots, nothing else. So I just want this lumpy stuff off because I don't want the little carrot roots sort of forking on me, and all that stuff will go back into the compost heap to be broken down a little bit more, because it's basically just horse manure. And what we have here, all on its own, is a little Lollo Rosso lettuce that has grown there from seed. And it's amazing how seed gets about. I let 3 of the Lollo Rossos last year seed inside the polytunnel. So I let them go to seed, and I gathered the seed off them. I've still got the seed, and I used the seed just shortly after harvesting it, and it came up. But it just shows you how it gets out of the polytunnel, which is, you know, 25 feet away, into this bed. There was actually quite a few lettuce came up in this bed. I dug most of them out and put them back into the polytunnel to grow, and they've been growing over winter. But that's another one that's just come up. You can see that little lettuce hasn't been affected by the frost either. So here we go, with green manure in mind. Or cover cropping. Right, so there will be a row of butter beans growing there. So there'll be about 6 butter beans growing here. The frame will be just here, right on the edge of the path. So I've also got to think of where the bricks go that's going to hold the netting down for the carrots. So there's going to be a row of bricks that sit there and there, like so. So the bricks will be a couple of bricks on there to hold this net down. The butter beans will be growing there, so I can successfully start the carrots there. Except I'm going to put a row of onions in there, just there, to grow on the end of this bed, so our carrots can be sown there. So this is where those little carrots are going to go. And I don't sow my carrots in a single row, because I tend to get a bigger crop if I just sow them in a little band like that across the bed, about 8, 9, 10 inches wide, just like that. This is what I don't want in the soil, you see, you know, when I'm sowing carrots. I don't want things like that and another stone that the carrots are going to run into. But there, at that depth now, I should be through that compost layer and actually into the soil there, you can see. So there won't be any of those stones or lumps of wood chip or anything on the surface there. So that's good, and that's where my carrots are going to go in that. So first thing to do is just water that. Get it nice and wet, because I don't want to heavily water the surface. That soil there that I've raked off will go back on top. I don't really want to water too much once I've sowed the carrots, because what I'll do is I'll tend to wash the carrots further down into the soil, where the soil's got an open texture like this. Another stone. I don't mind stones in the flower border. I don't want them in the growing beds. And now I've got to try and open this Premier Seeds seed packet. Premier Seeds, I wish you'd just make these things a little bit easier. Trying to get them open, these little Ziploc bags. Should come up with some other method of putting seeds in, because they're virtually impossible to get open. The bag is sort of sealed above where the little Ziploc bit is, and then you have to tear that off, and then you can't get the Ziploc open then. It's so frustrating. There, got it. Right, Touchon. Absolutely beautiful carrot, guys. If you haven't grown Touchon, give them a try. Put a bit of seed in there. Keep that packet safe. The first year I grew, the first full year I grew on this allotment, so this would be 23, I had carrots in this bed. Again, Touchon, they did amazingly well. Right, so I've got to try and sow. It's worth spending just a little bit more time sowing your carrot seeds. Just to try and get them bunched out and spaced out nicely. And I find that, you know, sowing them from a little bit more height spreads them out better. That was a nice little clump there I just sowed then. That was nice. Because the less thinning, the less work you've got to do, the better afterwards. If you can just put them in, leave them, and not thin them, you're not going to expose them to carrot root fly. Right, so ideally I'd mark this off where I've put them, which I will do in a minute. In fact, I'll do that now with a couple of sticks so I don't lose track, because it's easy to lose track of where they are. Right, we're good. Let's pull this back over. And I've found when you're sowing carrots, you don't need to be very deep. The only thing you've got to watch for when you sow carrots is that the soil doesn't dry out. You get really bad germination if the soil dries out. That's why I've watered the soil first, so there's ample moisture under the seed. And I'm just trying, this soil's really lumpy as you can see, but I'm just trying to get a thin even layer over the carrots as well. so that there's the same depth of soil over the entire row, and that is nice. And then I'll just firm the soil down so that it's in contact with all the seed, and we've probably got about 1/2 inch of soil, well, less actually than that, maybe 3/8 of an inch, 12 millimeters, something like that, and a quick flash water. That's it. So that's them carrots in one row. I'm going to do three rows like that now, and that'll be enough for the time being. But where those carrots are now, I'm going to grow a row of something else here. So possibly a row of onions, because I've not put any of my onions out yet, my onion seedlings grown from seed. So I'll possibly put a staggered row of onions in there like that, or I may leave another gap, which I think I'm going to do this year. So I'm going to have onions dotted in like that. Then I'm going to have something else growing along here. So my next row of carrots will actually be there. Yeah, that'll work out nice, that. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I'll put 3 rows in, and that's a good third of the bed then, so the carrots. There'll be enough carrots here for us in just probably in these 3 rows actually. But I am gonna sow the whole bed with carrots, because I give a lot away to my family and friends. So you can never grow enough carrots. They're absolutely beautiful. And I've only got to grow enough carrots. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I've only got to grow enough of these Touchon to last me until maybe September, October, and by then my second sowing, which will be Eskimo, they'll be sowed in June, July, August, September, October. They should be coming ready by about October, November time. So as we're clearing the Touchon, the Eskimo will be coming ready. And the Eskimo, over winter, the Eskimo are still growing here in the ground. They're actually I cut all the tops off them. They're actually coming up, and they're still, the carrots are actually just starting to grow little root hairs along them. So we'll be harvesting the rest of them. There's going to be a gap obviously between when the Eskimo finish and when the Touchon come ready. But what I do is, at some point I'm going to have to pull the rest of the Eskimos out before they start going really woody, the actual carrot. But what I will do is I will harvest all of them, and I'll just blanch and freeze them until the Touchon come ready. So you can see the first rows there, and we've got almost 2 foot between the rows there. So this is the next row of carrots here. Just keep in mind, if you want to do a bit of permaculture, if you want to try it this year, that you've got to sort of grow companion plants with your existing crop that won't really heavily impact your crop that you want to grow, like the carrots. So you've got to grow things with the carrots that won't impact the carrots ultimately. So I know onions don't impact the carrots, because I've grown lots of onions with carrots in the past. They work really well. Garlic does the same. So if you planned ahead and you'd already planted garlic, then you could be planting your carrots now in between your garlic rows. Beetroot works well with carrots. I've grown beetroot with carrots before. That works really well. That's better. Right, second row of Touchon. You get the drift, don't you? Right, onward and upward. A lot of people say, you see a lot of people saying that you shouldn't put carrots into soil or into ground that's been composted. Well, that is actually not the case. Again, it's a bit of a old wives' tale. All my beds are just as fertile as any other bed, and I can put the carrots in any bed I want. There won't be any difference whatsoever. It doesn't cause them to fork, despite this myth. There's a lot of myths in gardening and growing that I don't know where they come from, but they seem to propagate, and people, believe them. But no, it's a fact. It's an utter fact. Carrots will grow straight. They will grow well in soil that has had compost in it. Right guys, that's it. I've got the new net on. This is Veggie Mesh. It's a 16-foot long piece. That's as long as I could get it. I would have liked it to be another 2 meters long, and then I could have encapsulated the entire bed in it, but that's all I could find. 2.5 meters wide. We've got most of the bed covered with it. There's just about 3 foot on the end, which I'm going to just grow something else in, but we've got enough cover for the onions anyway. I like this veggie mesh. It was about 25 quid. It's much stronger than the cheaper netting that I'm using, which is less than half the price, but only lasts until you virtually scratch it, and then it comes with holes and the carrot root fly can get in. So I've got 6 rows of onions in here. I decided I'm not going to plant lettuce in this simply because I pick lettuce, so you know, I pick the leaves on lettuce just to keep them going for longer. So if I was to put lettuce in here, I'd constantly having to lift the net on and off to pick the lettuce. I don't want to do that because every time you lift the net off, there's a chance carrot root fly is going to get in. So I'm probably going to put some lentils in, but I am actually going to wait until the carrots come up. So as soon as the carrot seedlings get about 2 to 3 inches tall and they get a bit of a head start on anything else I'm putting in, that's when I'll sow a few lentils or maybe some cowpeas in here. Just let the carrots get ahead first before we drown them out with anything else. That's going to be my method of green manuring these beds, and my polyculture methods. That's what I'm going to try this year anyway. There's another volunteer there, Potato, and that will be Charlotte. Pretty sure that'll be Charlotte. That's quite a deep one, that as well. So we don't really want that coming up in here. But yeah, that's it. Oh, by the way, thanks to everyone who commented on the weed, the mysterious weed which I've got everywhere. It has been decided by many of you that it's willow herb, and I've looked it up, and yeah, you're absolutely correct, it is willow herb. It's definitely come in here off seed, blown seed. I've just found a smaller one across on Martin's allotment across the road on top of his compost pile. So I've never actually seen it that tall, and from what I read on it, it can get 2 to 3 foot tall as well. But you know, the biggest I've seen it on my allotment is just flattened onto the ground and maybe half an inch, 1 inch high at maximum. It's never actually seeded on mine, so the seed isn't local to me. It's just come in, and this is the problem I think with allotments. You know, your major problem. They're probably the weediest places on the planet because you've got so many boundaries and fences and people who neglect plot, people who let boundaries. We grow up on boundaries, on the fronts of the plots, on the backs of the plots, and all that seed is just constantly circling around these allotments. If there's any subjects or anything you want me to cover on videos, just let me know down below, because I only do these videos for you guys, try and help people out. So I'd rather make content that you want to watch, you know, or something that's of particular interest to you, because you might think it's just specific to you, but generally when someone asks a question, it's the same question that 1,000 people will ask as well. Thanks for your comments. If you've got any questions, put them down below, and we'll see you in the next one, guys.